Okay, I'd like to call the Human Resources and Public Works Committee to order. On their first item, I'd like the members to identify their physical location, starting with me, Commissioner Marino, reporting from my home in Mount Pleasant, Michigan, Isabella County.
Commissioner Hutchison, present, participating from my home in Nottawa Township, Isabel County.
Jim Harden, participating from my office in Big Rapids, Michigan, Mecosta County.
Okay, call to the public. Nicole, do we have any public?
We do not at this time, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Then we will move to our first action item. Consider approving the replacement of Isabella County Material Recovery Facility weight scale system with the Czech Corporation, VTEC steel deck truck scale system with digital load cells in the amount of $107,280.70 and authorize the board chair to sign the same. Jake, could you take it away, please?
Yes, thank you, Commissioner. My name is Jake Borton, Director for the Material Recovery Facility for Isabella County in my office at physical location. Didn't know whether I needed to do that. Just wanted to make sure that I was covering that side of it. As you can see, the request is for $107,280.70. ICMRF went out for an RFB in June. That RFB closed in on July 23rd. The results of that, as you can see, there was two different scale pricings that come in from a company called Lakeshore Scale, and the other one was from Czech Corporation. The Material Recovery Facility has applied for and received graciously from the Saginaw Chippewa Indian Tribe $67,755 in 2% funding towards the purchase of this scale. The biggest difference in the price between the two bids was $31,294.70. The biggest difference between them two bids is the comparison of an analog load cell from Lakeshore compared to the digital load cell from Czech Corporation. It's kind of the computer software on the scale itself is the biggest differences in how the system works. It's, you know, as you can see from one being digital, one being analog. Analog load cells, they have to send all the signals from each individual load cell to a junction box within the scale system itself, which is outdoors, which leaves the potential for issues within that load cell box because of weather exposure. Where the digital cells bring everything within the building and also gives the county the ability to look at other things going forward into the future as far as the weighing technology. So
I see that part that says there could be mistakes on the analog, and I don't see why anybody would want that, to have to deal with that. That's really crucial in your operation, isn't it?
It is, Commissioner, especially when things are based, our commodity sales are based off of that scale. Yes, sir. But as you can see, in a financial impact side of it, with the $107,280.70, 2% funding of $67,755, which leaves a cost share of $39,525.70. And I broke that cost share out so that you understand what the cost share is between the city and the county. And the city is aware of the fact that we will be replacing that scale. So it leaves the county of $30,213.45 coming out of our equipment reserve fund. With my recommendation to move forward with the Czech Corporation's BTEC steel deck truck scale system with a digital load cell in the amount of $107,280.70, and authorize the board chair to sign the same.
Margaret, you had your hand up?
Yes, I would just like to say a couple of things. A, I believe the city commission has already approved their share of this project. B, you know, the scale is certainly very important to us because that is how we weigh what we end up selling. But we also have a lot of commercial use of that scale. I believe it's one of the only scales in the county, Jake, is that correct?
It is, Margaret, that I know of.
Is it the only one?
I don't know if it's the only one, because I think there is the chance that Birch Tank may have a scale there, but I don't know whether it's open to the public or not.
Okay, so for example, you know, you can be sitting in Jake's office, we can be sitting in Jake's office talking with him, and a Myers truck goes by and gets weighed, or other trucks go by and get weighed. So while it's very, very important to our operation, it also is weighing other vehicles. And Jake, they pay a fee for that, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. So it's another way for us to try to, you know, bring some resources in. The other thing that I would say is that, yes, it is a higher bid, but of course, our policies, our purchasing policies allows the Board of Commissioners to make a decision that's in the best interest of the county. You're not required to take the lowest bid. You're not required to, you can accept or reject the proposals. You can accept or reject the bids. So you're not bound by the policy to take the lowest bid. What your responsibility, you know, what our responsibility is to do the best thing for the county. And the last thing I will say is that we are not staff heavy in the front of that operation. So if we have to be sending somebody outside to do something, you know, we have one administrative assistant there most of the time. She's busy, her hands are full. The operation manager and quite frankly, Jake these days are out back sorting because like everybody else, we're having a hard time finding employees, even through our staffing service. So they are all hands on deck and I don't see that changing much. So to me, if we were to look at how long that scale has been there, which is more than 20 years, and if we're looking at, we would be investing $30,000 from funds we already have on hand and designated in the equipment replacement budget. They're there. That's what this is what this is for, is these major purchases. And we're happy that the city is so supportive of recycling that they are doing their share of this. So thank you, Commissioner Moreno.
One other thing to follow up on that. The RFB specifically stated you know, that we went out for was for steel deck digital load cell technology. You know, as I mentioned in the report, that both companies met the minimum, but Lakeshore does not offer a digital load cell technology. So.
Thank you. Anybody else have any comments or questions?
Yeah, Jake,
Yes,
I was reading in there too. Doesn't this also give you a way of servicing it a lot faster with the cells?
Absolutely, sir. The biggest thing with the digital load cell is that it will not give an incorrect weight. But there is things then, if we have something that's an issue, we can look at the monitoring system inside to be able to find out whether there's an issue there. And the other thing that I talked about in moving to the future, and that's that, you know, at some time in the future, if we ever decided that we still needed to be able to advance that technology as far as being able to keep it maintained, you could remote out to a company eventually that they can monitor that scale, and if there's an issue, they can fix it from a remote location, even where the analog technology does not have that ability.
Commissioner Moreno or Chairman Moreno,
Go
can I
ahead.
ask you a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
You guys hit two of my three questions, one being, if the RFB had a, analog versus digital specification, you said they only had digital, at the one bid analog for some whatever reason, other than they didn't have digital. Two, Margaret touched on the fact that the city already voted for that, so that's a good thing to know. So the last thing, I guess my only other question, is there a system in place that you can test the integrity? I know in pharmacy scales, we have to sometimes had to sit there and test, to see if they're still calibrated. What's the calibration? How often do you calibrate or have to check for calibration on these?
There is state certification on it, Chairman. And the state actually does come in. They have a weights and measures division. They come in, they haven't been in because of COVID the last 2 years, but they normally come in every year to certify that scale.
Okay, and is there a way that do you ever do it ourselves, like say, for lack of a better term, pick 2,000 pounds of weights and then put it on there to see how accurate or close it is?
The only thing that we have the ability to do, because of the amount of weight that it requires to be able to do something like that, the only thing we can do is that we can run a truck on that we know what the weight is at, right after certification. And then we can run that truck on to know that we're close. But otherwise, when they're certifying them scales, they start with 25,000 pounds.
Yeah, 25,000 is a lot, I know.
Yeah.
Only reason I asked that is I have a child that has had to deal with that just recently. It's his fourth time, I think, doing it. And Jim, I'm sure you're familiar with it, being in the military. When you move in the military, you weigh your vehicle and stuff before you go to a scale, and then you load up and then go get that weighed and test the difference. And I was just kind of wondering if there was a way to calibrate all that. I know. So anyway, that's all. Thanks, Chairman Moreno, for letting me speak.
Okay. Is there any further questions or comments at this time? Hearing none, I need a motion on this, please?
Consider approving and replacing of the Isabella County Material Recovery Facility waste scale system with Keck Corp BTEK steel deck truck scale system with digital load cells in the amount of $107,280.70, and authorize the board chair to sign the same.
Support. It's been moved and supported to move the item to the work and regular session of the county commission next week. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. The ayes carry. The item will be forwarded to the work and regular session of the county commission next week. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Borden.
And thank you, commissioners. I appreciate it.
Okay, our next item is consider approving the individual service contracts between the Isabella County Commission on Aging and Elizabeth Jane Starr of Gedford for services as a registered nurse, and Mary Ellen Walsh for services as a caregiver trainer effective October 1st, 2021 through September 30th, 2022, and authorize the board chair to sign the same. We have the director of COA, Jennifer Crawford, here.
Good morning. So the two contracts before you, these are both for our in-home services program at the Commission on Aging. And with both of these are supported through funding we receive through the Region 7 Area Agency on Aging. The registered nurse is a requirement for us for our contract. We have to have a registered nurse or contract with one or have one on staff. So we contract with one to review our care plans that we have. And then our caregiver trainer, this is actually one of the programs that we do that have been awarded through the contract that we received with the Area Agency on Aging. So for both of these positions, as far as the registered nurse goes, it's typically maybe 5 to 10 hours a month. If that, it's just based on need, depending on how many plans that we need to be reviewed. And then as far as our caregiver trainer, which is just an amazing program, our caregiver trainer, Mary Ellen Walsh, works right alongside our staff. She works about 15 to 20 hours per week. She does one-on-one work with families that are caregiving for those. Their primary focus is those who have dementia. She provides one-on-one work with them. She provides monthly support groups, and then she also does a spring and fall training for folks, which has been virtual the last couple of years, but just an amazing resource in our community, and we're so thankful to have her on board. So both of these contracts, again, are for our in-home services program for the next year.
Thank you. Anybody have any questions or comments on this item?
Chairman Moreno?
Go ahead.
Jen, just real quick, and Margaret, and again, I know these are standard boilerplate contracts, so you just change the names and all this other stuff. But on 7.02 under insurance, the commercial general liability insurance on an occurrence basis, I know it had lists $1 million per occurrence and aggregate. Usually the standard in the industry, I know in pharmacy, and I think in some other, especially in the medical professional industry, is a lot of times a $3 million aggregate. I was just wondering if that 3 million is left out. Again, hopefully we never have a situation. I can't imagine having a situation, but like that. But I know normally the contracts are $1 million and 3 million, 1 million occurrence and 3 million aggregate. So I just way that's left out like that per occurrence and aggregate basically means you have one shot, and that's it. So other than that, I mean, it's just standard boilerplate stuff. And I commented before about Jane Starr-Gepford. I mean, that's a major league ball player right there. She's a rock star as far as an RN goes. I've had experience with her in the past, back in another life with medical care facility, and she's very, very good. So that's a very good person to have on board with the county. So yes, I'm fine.
Margaret.
I would just, thank you for that information, Chairman. I would just respond by saying this contract was prepared by our legal counsel. And, we had a discussion with our risk management team. So that is what both of them recommended.
I don't, there's no doubt that's like I said, it's just a, well, usually though, the way it's just by the way it's 1 million per occurrence, and then the word and aggregate, it's usually a 3 million aggregate. That allows you 3 hits. So
this is insurance that she's required to provide.
no, I get that. I get
Okay.
that. Yeah, no. But usually though, that's, and usually the medical, the RNs and the pharmacists are not nowhere near what an MD or that is. It's pennies versus dollars. So yeah, again, just a comment, nothing that I went against this, or it's definitely a slam dunk on it. So thank you, Chairman Moreno.
Okay, at this time, can I entertain a motion for this item, please?
Sure. Make a motion to consider approving the individual service contracts between the Isabel County Commission on Aging and Elizabeth Jane Starr-Gepford for services as a registered nurse, and Mary Ellen Walsh for services as a caregiver trainer, effective October 1st, 2021 through September 30th, 2022, and authorize the board chair to sign the same.
Support. It's been moved and supported to move the item discussed to the work and regular session of the county commission next week. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. The motion carries. The item will be carried forth 2 weeks to the work and regular sessions of the county commission. Thank you. Okay, Jen, the next item is consider approving the individual service contracts between the Isabella County Commission on Aging and Roger Stremlow, Larry Davis, and Paul Stickler for services as a bulk food meal delivery driver effective October 1st, 2021 through September 30th, 2022, and authorize the board chair to sign the same.
Okay, so these contracts here are for our nutrition program. So the 3 gentlemen represented here, they provide the delivery of all of our bulk food. So they travel out, they do 3 days a week right now. That's when our congregate sites are operating, and they deliver the bulk food out to those sites so that the congregate meals can be served to the participants. They also will will tag along and take along the home delivered meals for those areas as well, so that our volunteer drivers who are delivering to those areas don't have to come all the way into the Commission on Aging. So on those days, they can just go right there and have a shorter trip to pick up their meals to make their deliveries in those areas. And these three gentlemen have been doing this for a very long time. So we have 2 regular routes and then a sub. So that's why we have 3. I do apologize. I did notice this morning when I was going through my staff report, I did make a mistake on the amounts. I was off by $2 on each of them. The contracts are correct, but where it says $34 and $38 per route, it's actually $36 and $40 per route. So I will get with Jessica and get that corrected before it moves on. So I apologize for that. It was completely my oversight and putting that in there. But these gentlemen, they do a great service for us, getting the food out to our sites. We're excited. We've got them open. Now, with the exception of the Rosebush site, that one is not currently up yet because that is an assisted living facility. And so we're in touch with them very regularly. And so hopefully we'll be getting open in there as soon as they're ready for us to do that. But all over the other 3 sites, or other 4 sites, excuse me, are all up and going.
Okay, thank you, Jen. Any questions or comments on this item?
Now, these are the same names we've been seeing over and over, Jim, for I think since I've been on the board. I know Larry Davis, and yeah, his name's been there ever since I can remember. So
Okay, could I have entertain a motion, please?
Motion to consider approving the individual service contracts between the Isabel County Commission on Aging and Roger Stenlow, Larry Davis, and Paul Stickler for services as bulk food meal delivery driver effective October 1st, 2021 through September 30th, 2022, and authorize the board chair to sign the same.
Support. It's been moved and supported to move the item to the work and regular session of the county commission next week. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
This opposed, the same. The ayes carry. The motion will be moved to next meetings of the county commission. Okay, next, Jen.
Last one. Do you want me to go ahead and go? Or
Okay, yeah, I'll read it. Consider approving the individual service contracts between Isabella County Commission on Aging and James Vandermeer, Carol Clute, Angela McGirt, Catherine Tobin, Judy Swartz, Steve Wood, and Mary Alsinger to provide activity services, and Virginia Kane to serve as active living newspaper editor effective October 1st, 2021 through September 30th, 2022, and authorize the board chair to sign the same. Okay. Now,
Okay. So all of the contracts here represent the contracts we have for our activities program. So we have all of our fitness class instructors, along with our newspaper editor and our painting class, which is always a hit. So we're excited that these are up and going. The only 2 classes that we're not able to provide yet at this time are our aqua program. So our aqua Zumba and our senior water aerobics, those classes take place at CMU, and they're just not ready to open up the facility yet. They were hoping maybe later this fall, but Marcy Jerome, our activities manager, is in contact with them regularly, just waiting. As soon as we're able to get in there, we have the instructors ready to go, and we'll get those classes up and going, but everything else is going. We're still utilizing some virtual options for participants in some of our programs. So we're doing both in person and also virtual for those who feel more comfortable doing that way. And it's been going really well. And so, yeah, everyone's really excited. It's great to see everybody back in our facility, taking part in our classes again. And it's been very exciting. Our painting class is up and going. That one, we're having our first one this month, and we're already getting reservations for next month. And so people are excited to get back involved and doing all these things with us, which is awesome.
well, that's good to hear. And I know that Aqua Zumba, that's really, really been popular throughout the years, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, the 2 water classes, they are, and I mean, we field calls regularly from our participants asking for the status, and we're just waiting. We're just waiting for the go ahead, which is totally understandable. But that's we're ready to go as soon as we get the approval to do so.
Okay, any questions or comments on these items?
Chairman Moreno, if I may, just real quick, yeah, we always try to make lemonade out of lemons, and I think one of the lemonade things that we can talk about coming out of COVID is the ability to do virtual. Looking at, and I just see one name that stands out here, Judy Swartz. I'm assuming she's still out in Colorado, is it?
Yes, yes. Yeah.
And I mean, Judy is a fantastic person, and you know, be able to have her still have contacts in this community is a wonderful thing. So again, if there's some
Mhm.
positives that come out of anything that we've learned over COVID is virtual, is you know, if we can do that and have someone like Judy on board, I think it's a wonderful thing. So
Yeah,
That's-
we were so excited for that. And when she moved, we had a lot of participants who were so sad for her to go. And Marcy was working. We had some folks who could step in and were ready to do it. But as soon as COVID hit and we got virtual, she reached right out to Judy, and Judy was so excited. And the participants who participate with her were so excited to be able to reconnect with her and keep that going. And yeah, she is
Yeah.
wonderful.
yep,
Mhm.
that's all I have, Chairman Moreno.
Okay. Could I entertain a motion on this item, please?
Can motion to consider approving the individual service contracts between Isabel County Commission on Aging and James Vandermeer, Carol Clute, Angela McGurk, Catherine Tobin, Judy Swartz, Steve Wood, Mary Osslinger to provide activity services, and Virginia Kane to serve as activity living newspaper editor effective October 1st, 2021 through September 30th, 2022, and authorize the board chair to sign the same.
Support. It's been moved and supported to move item 7 to the work and regular session of the county commission next week. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. The ayes carry. The item will be forwarded. Thanks, Jen.
Wonderful job, John.
Okay, I'm calling to the public. And does anybody else have any comments at this time?
There's no public at this time, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. How about on the people here? Anybody have anything to say?
No.
Okay, then I'll adjourn this meeting at this time and wish everybody a happy week.
Thank
Stay
you.
safe, stay
Thank
safe,
you.
everyone. See you Tuesday.
See you Tuesday.
Okay, bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone.